But as umdlali, surely you still want to go through this moment and process what has happened, particularly when you see ukuthi as soon as we got into the second half, it seemed like it was Cameroon that got into that first, second and third gear a lot sooner than South Africa.
But I think the expectations were more like, you know how many forays we did, especially on the right-hand side of Cameroon. That's where Rayleigh got a chance, he missed it in the second minute. We also had Kabini also getting that chance closer to bury that. But we thought maybe if we can strengthen that area, because we saw that our left back was more playing forward, getting more into the forays of Cameroon. So we thought maybe with a player like Mudiba, whom he did come late, he did show us that maybe if he was brought in early with the cross that he made now, where we got a goal, maybe we should have been talking something different. But I think the delay in terms of playing personnel was something that really didn't give us the chance to progress. But yes, players will look at that, and maybe the structure, as we were talking, was good, but the playing personnel needs to adapt to that. We don't know how much time was given to them to get used to it. But if this is something good, we'll always look at how we're going to fare in the World Cup. And yeah, it is a disappointment, as you can see, how Cameroon are celebrating as if they've beaten a Brazil of Africa. But yeah, we are a threat.
We are a strong nation that they celebrate.
The way we play, you could
easy.
See. We were just unfortunate.
And they had to sit back and defend. Yeah. And that tells you that there was something they were facing.
Indeed, there was something that they were facing. When you look at Cameroon, of course, coming into Umdlalo namhlanje, they ranked in the top 10 in the continent, and South Africa just falling out of that top 10, occupying that 11th position. Coach Manqoba, I want to get your thoughts in terms of what we witnessed kulo mdlalo namhlanje, particularly in the second half, and how you think perhaps we could have applied ourselves a little differently.
Considering that we went to half-time already trailing, I expected that we would use that stoppage to improve our attacking play, more especially on the left channel, because we had already seen, like Coach Steve is saying, like Legs of Thunder is saying, we had created chances in that left channel, but we did not have the composure, the tenacity to be able to create something out of it. I think had we made the substitution very early as halftime of a Modiba, and maybe even on the central defenders, I could have taken one of the centre backs between Gezana and CBC, because very early they were already on a yellow, to maybe play Mutau closer as a lateral centre back, so that I can bring a Moremi or a Nkota or somebody that is going to cause problems to Toho, because Tolo got a yellow card very early in the game. But we never really challenged that much. And I think had we tried to be a little bit more aggressive, because we already had 3 centre backs. But now, if Mudau is going to play in front of our police who is sitting on the line, it becomes very difficult to use the numerical superiority that we would have in the wide channels. And the same thing on the other side with Rele, being scared of the combats inside, he would try to drift to the outside. Then Kabini and Rele now, and if you look behind Foster, there is a big gap that we did not exploit. I think the initial thinking as early as first half was that there'll be Foster and the 2 wingers will come closer to Foster to form the double 10. Then you still have the workaholics of Tebogo and Obas behind. Then Mudau will be aggressive in the wide channels. And you expected a little bit better from Kabini, because I think a Modiba would have been the best option. You could even use a winger for that matter, because if you saw the few moments where Moremi was on that left channel, because with the speed, you needed to try to force those lateral centre backs to try to come to you and open the space for a Mofokeng in between the lateral centre back and the central centre back to exploit that space by breaking the line and maybe find cutbacks. But we did not get that, and we did not exploit the fact that their captain already had a yellow card very early in the match.
The captain had a yellow card very early on in the match, and we also weren't certain whether or not he came into lo mdlalo with a little bit of an injury, which was something that we could have tested a little bit better. Let's now, though, hear from Bafana coach Hugo Bruce, a man that came into this AFCON wanting to do better than the bronze that we received in the 2023 edition. Here's Coach Hugo Bruce.
Coach, the changes that you made seemed quite effective the first 10 minutes. Just how frustrated are you that South Africa didn't take their chance?
Yes, I think we started very well at the game and we had chances to score. I think if we scored then we never can lose the game. But okay, then we had a little bit of unluck with the corner. The ball falls in the feet of a player, he shoots, he's blocked, he falls again in the feet of a player and he scored, so the 1-0. But I was happy with what we brought in the first half, so we thought to go on in the second, and then after a few minutes in the second half we get the second goal. And that is a little bit of pity, because then yes, you had to score 2 goals. Even we had the chances to score those 2 goals and to have a draw. But it was not our day today.
Did you feel also the heads dropped a little bit and it became difficult to pick the boys up in the second half when their heads dropped, conceding the 2 goals?
Yeah, you know, when after half time you get a second goal so quickly, then that cuts the legs, way of speaking. But we went on, we fight for it, we had chances. We could have scored earlier, the 2-1, and then maybe we are able to do 2, but you saw what happened in the last 10 minutes. They just kicked the ball in front and they defended well. And okay, it's a disappointment certainly for every one of us, but I can't be unhappy with the game we played today. Thank you.
Well, that's Coach Hugo Bruce really just speaking about the disappointment, of course, of being knocked out, but saying happy with how the team applied themselves and the first 45 minutes of action. And we look at the first 45. Let's speak, gentlemen, then to that opening goal in terms of how Cameroon in the 34th minutes of this clash and how that build-up of that goal came about.
I think maybe if I take it there was some little bit of hesitation after we defended the ball from the box. When it just dropped outside, I think it was like Mokwena, Kabini and Foster. There was a bit of hesitation if you look at the 3 guys, because they should have gone. You see now, they stop all 3 of them and then they go there. They were late already. And
but I think that... Coach, the other big issue is that structurally we seemed not to have anyone covering the box.
That's exactly what came to my mind when you look at the picture.
He's got all the space and time, and we are only hoping that players that are coming from the box are the ones that can deal with that ball, and it was very difficult.
Coach, when you look at the back of the picture, Urile is deep in field. You could have maybe requested him to say, listen, it's a critical phase, critical moment, let's bring all bodies. But he stayed there. Sometimes you stay there to bring out defenders. But with this physicality, because even in terms of duels, when you go check duels, on duels aerially, they were stronger than us. Yes, duels on the ground, we were equal at halftime. So you know that is a corner kick. Rather bring everybody, cover the box. If we had somebody covering the box, then that would not have happened. Benefit of hindsight then.
Benefit of hindsight, and as you can see, we do have the ref, the principal, joining us as well tonight, just to give us a breakdown of some of those key moments where we would need his insights. It is Victor Hlongwane, the principal. Principal,
reperle to the coaches and the viewers at home. Welcome to 2026. We have 2 teams in Morocco, one for the referees, Abongile Tom and the team, and Bafana. Now that Bafana is out, they stand a chance of going all the way to the final. When Bafana proceed, they go home. But now that Bafana is out, they stand the whole chance of going all the way to the final. Let's go to
Abongile Tom, kusala Bafana, next time.
Yeah. Let's go to Lyle Foster on the 5th minute where he was ruled offside. Was he correctly ruled offside in this situation? When we draw our line there, we can see that Tolo put him onside. So here he was ruled offside, but when we draw a line, we can see that he was onside. We felt that maybe they said the ball is out of play, but when we look at the restart, it will show you that the restart is offside there. So that means he was ruled offside, but this was incorrect decision by assistant referee Asisa Sekang. Let's go to the next one. We're going to hand on the face. Remember, Mudau was punished for hand on the face with a penalty against Egypt. Now, let's see if our players are learning that this is not allowed. We can see that Ngezana there is using hand on the face, the same thing that was done by Mudau. So if it was inside the penalty area, a penalty would have been awarded and a yellow card. Look at the yellow card there, because there's an instruction by FIFA to say any hand on the face, yellow card must come out, and striking an opponent, therefore a free kick should be awarded. So correct this, in our players must learn that hand on the face is not allowed at all in football. Let's go to a goal scored by Cameroon. Some say it's offside, but we're going to digest it to you and show you that whether it was offside or not. If we play it there, we can see, if we stop it there, we can see that there's a player from South Africa who is a striker. I don't know, coach, because he is putting everybody on side. If you look at it there, you can see Lyle Foster there. He's putting 1 and then 2 on side. So here, a correct decision was taken by the referees to award a goal because Lyle Foster put everyone on side. Right, the last one, we're going to check as to whether the ball crossed by Modiba, was it out or was it in or out of play under law 9. Right, let's go and have a look. When he crossed the ball, this was ruled that the ball crossed the goal line. But when we look at it there, we can see that the whole circumference of the ball did not cross over the goal line. So, Asisa Sekang.
Asusasekanga eninga kususo kutala sokungasaseke asuyendlakala ngobhala ka side ya South Africa. Let's get your thoughts then quickly, gentlemen, before we go into our talking points in terms of just the officiating in this encounter. You look at South Africa and the number of yellow cards that they got in this encounter, a total of 5 yellow cards in comparison to the 2 gotten by Cameroon.
In any physical match, and uzokutshela uref lapho babuvik, in any physical match, and sometimes we do tell them that, ref, it's raining, it's wet, please watch the tackles and watch the slides as well. Now, where's beyond the conditions of the field, when 2 opponents are out there, they are physical, you can see how strong they are. So we also have to bring our physicality. Sometimes you become over-excessive with force when it comes to resisting, especially if you're up against a stronger team. So maybe to a level of recklessness, but a physical match will always invite yellow cards, even red cards.
Legs of Thunder, from a player point of view, we see Lyle Foster getting a yellow card. Many would say it was unnecessary for him to even get that yellow card. Let's talk about managing your emotions in a game of this magnitude when you've got so much at stake, but also losing valuable players. Lyle Foster, if South Africa did go on to equalize, let's speak about that importance of just managing those emotions.
I think emotions are controlled by how your team is playing, because sometimes there would be challenges that are reckless to you. Let's say as a striker playing in Africa, there would be a reckless challenge that comes to me, but I need to take it because I know what is the outcome that I need as a player. But yes, somehow I think when we got a yellow card, we were trailing, and there was a lot of friction between him and the players of Cameroon, because most of the players of Cameroon are playing overseas, and he's one of the players that they were targeting. But for me, yes, today maybe losing his temper was something which was not worth it as much as Sakusa Seka Arpsela Gore Ulabayini Gurnabe number 5.
I agree.
We are born. Because we want to see him more in the front. Leave the defensive side to the defenders and concentrate on your part. But we cannot falter him. Maybe it's one of those things when things are not, if it's not your day, there's nothing that you can control emotionally.
Yeah, but football is a game of emotions. Yeah. Yet you still have to play it without emotions. Such a difficult thing. So you must always be present, always have the clarity and understand that without clarity, then you get clouded and get confused, you lose focus, and your performance will drop. So if you want to stay on top of your performance, you must always stay clear and understand that you'll be hacked, you'll be kicked, but it needs maturity for you to withstand that.
And I mean, we'll take a look at that moment just as Olaf Foster gets that yellow card, why he was so furious and how he could have done a little bit different. Principal, before you get that off, just your thoughts in terms of out of 10 tonight's officiating in this game?
No, it's 8 out of 10. Good performance. They did not influence the outcome of the match.
We don't know.
Yeah, as our players, you know, when you make a mistake that you deny a goal or a red card, then you have influenced the outcome of the match. So here it was more out a little bit, but kuno referee uzohamba ekhaya kusasa. The one who was doing a game that came before us, Tanzania and Morocco. Kune push v VAR ayibonanga nalo nangayibonanga kusasa. I'm sure babhizi baprint ticket uyahamba ekhaya.
All right, we'll see, and we'll certainly be waiting for the updates on Isoko Zonia Ksasa. Let's now hear from the man that plays for Burnley out in the English Premier League, Olaf Foster.
Lilo, I can see the disappointment in your face. That first 10 minutes, how crucial was that? Because chances were just flowing for South Africa.
Yeah, tough. I think, yeah, chances we could have converted, but maybe just a bit unlucky. I think we did really well. And maybe that played a part as well in the game. Difficult, I think we should have gone up quite soon, but just unlucky, man, and just, yeah, the way the game went after that. Obviously not the best, but yeah, we're here now. We just need to focus, try and regroup, and when we get together again, just try and go over things.
And when one looks in hindsight, it will look like, you know, the tactics didn't work, but that's why I'm asking about that first 10 minutes, because the coach's tactics, it's clearly something that you had been planning all along the last 4 days or so.
Yeah, obviously I think we did really well. I think we started the game well, and tactically I think the way they played, we matched it and probably surprised them a little bit, and why we were able to create so many chances. I think we were in the game the whole time, and I think that, to be honest, like all round, we probably were the better team. Yeah, they scored a goal out of nothing from the corner kick, and then the second goal right after half-time, which obviously hurts a bit. And then, yeah, it was just a fight to try and get back into it. Again, just a few chances that we look back and we'll say, could have, should have, but it didn't happen. We got one late at the end, but maybe just a little bit too late.
And how you build on this?
Yeah, like I said, it's tough. Not the result we wanted, obviously. I think everyone's disappointed right now. Probably just need to process it, go through it, and then I think we can look and take all the positives and, like I say, focus on the next coming games, which is in March, and then obviously the World Cup in June.
And Olaf Foster speaks about South Africa seeming like the better team all around. You look at their ball position at 66.5%, dual success rate of 52.9%, and when we look at the attack, 18 shots at goal for South Africa, 4 on target, in comparison to the 10 for Cameroon, with 4 of those being on target. All right, let's take you back to Cape Town now at Rands and Khayelitsha, where this is where the official viewing party was for SABC Sport.
Well, unfortunately for Bafana, they are out of the Africa Cup of Nations, and it's a somber mood here when it comes to the fans. Just feeling very heartbroken. A lot of them thought that perhaps Bafana would somehow try to catch up with Cameroon, but it didn't happen. So I'm going to talk to one of the fans that is here just to find out how he's feeling after the game. Buti, just looking at that game and that defeat, how did it make you feel?
You know, I am very much disappointed. I think mostly from coach. The experiments that he is coming with, having so many defenders, so many defensive midfielders, I don't know what game can we win. He comes in a game as if we are leading, but we are starting the game. I don't know exactly how we can win the game in that formation. You know, the last time we played, I think, was Egypt, where he had so many defensive mid. he's exactly doing the same, but he actually had more defenders this time around. There's no way that we can win a game playing that way. Even the substitution that he did, removing Apolis, whereas he was the one who was actually trying to put pressure. I don't know exactly. You know, Hugo Bros, we love him, but the way he's selecting the squad to play, I don't know, even going to the World Cup, I don't have any hope. We'll go out in the first round there.
Really? I mean, I hear you and how you're feeling, but just looking at the overall performance of Bafana at the tournament, nothing positive coming out of there?
If we didn't go to the last 8, what is it that we can celebrate? The last time we went, we got the bronze. We were number 3. This time around, we went out in the last 16. So what is it to celebrate there? And then we talk as if we're ready for World Cup. With the type of football we're playing, or the selection that the coach is making, I don't see us going anywhere.
Well, there you have it, Vusi, where the fans are not happy at all, and obviously most of them just looking ahead to the World Cup, as you heard from himself, saying that he feels that we're not even going to do well at the World Cup. So I guess questions still need to be answered, especially when it comes to Hugo Bruce. Back to you, Vusi.
All right, we take you through to a quick ad break now. When we come back from the break, we continue with our wrap and throw forward to what you can expect tomorrow right here on the SABC. Eventually, we saw him substituted off in the second half of action here today. But in the 7th minute, he had a good chance at goal. Unfortunately, not quite able to convert that one. Let's now hear from Captain Wama 2000.
Really hard luck. As I said to Lyle, saw the disappointment on the face. I'm sure you look back at that chance early in the game. It could have turned the game around.
Yeah, I think chance we can only game. So I think Lena can get responsibility or tamne ke ko rile chance mara. Nentse re create le chance ngata so ne tlamle fela re sebedisa chance sa rona.
Dihlotsa lona di la drop hanyane after le consider. Is that did it become a mental challenge to pick yourselves up into the game?
Yeah, I think re qalo ba 1-0 down, so I think le rona re fane spirit o ra re eng re ka khona thola goal. So nentse re sa we moya ne re tshepa re tla feta la 16, so the spirits tsa rona nentse di la high because game ne so ka fela nentse le khona iqalang. So I think rona tlamle fela re spane re tswelle pele re dala ka mkhone re dala ka teng because I think ne re itshwere game go fela ne tlamle re sebedise opportunity sa rona.
Ke eng ne le batla ho expose haholo from Cameroon?
I think the wing backs tsa bona dia haholo too much, so the winging ne ba dula ba sile space, so I think ke sona space ne re batla ho se explore and se recreate chance first half. So I think e re sebeleditse ntho coach ana e batla mara ntlamle fela re sebedise chance tsa rona.
When about game tse pedi AFCON, how would you rate your performance overall? Ke a tseba team se ya high, but we bone jwang AFCON ya hao ya pele?
I think in a difficult because dlala le star player around the world, so I think it was very difficult, but yeah, I think ke lenne ke khonno bona go tsalang ke na le experience nyana, so I think next time o tla ba better.
And that is Relebogile Mofokeng. Gentlemen, let me just get your thoughts wrapping up as we move, of course, into the next day of round of 16. Coach Manqoba, starts with you.
No, man, I think first we must not be despondent. I think we played very well. We created good moments that could have taken us somewhere. Like Coach Steve said, we did not lose. We have learned our lessons. And one of the biggest lessons was that in a cup match, when you are already trailing, maybe you should improve your offensive play a little bit, and that's where I think we were caught. But
Coach Steve?
I think just to add on what Coach Manqoba says, we need to be more clinical and efficient. Kunamathuba chances that we get, which are telling, and big matches where margins are so less, so minute. Chances like the ones we had, first 10 minutes, are the ones we're supposed to have opened the match. So can we learn and be more clinical? It is very important. When we had people like Jerry Skosan, so we need to have that aggression. If we can have that killer instinct is what makes the difference.
Legs of Thunder, quick one from you.
Yeah, anyway, somehow we look at the overall football and then we go to stats. We can win the stats. But unfortunately, football is won by scoring goals. So it is so important to mix both of those, stats and scoring goals, so that you can progress.
Efficiency is what South Africa will need to do better. This is what you can look forward to tomorrow being Monday. Egypt taking on Benin, Nigeria taking on Mozambique, Algeria faces DR Congo, and Cote d'Ivoire go up against Burkina Faso. From myself, Television, Umpati, as well as Legs of Thunder, thank you so much for joining us. Have yourselves a good night. God bless.